Hey, hello all, welcome back to my hub. Before I begin, I wish you all a happy Teachers' Day, today being the 5th of September. And of course, needless to say that teaching is one of my greatest passions among the 4 great passions which I have, which is teaching, tricking, music and programming, of course. Before we start today's topic, which is functions, and it's one of the most powerful things which Python offers us, I want to make a very important announcement. I will be starting a course or rather a paid webinar, a certified webinar on RESTful microservices using Python, and it's going to be something very professional, career oriented, and given that a lot of people have to make RESTful APIs and integrate microservices, that is going to be something which I am going to start. The tentative date right now is 15th of September, but I will be declaring it, of course, on my Facebook account, as well as I'll make a small video about how it is going to be and what it will contain in a couple of days. So of course you have to subscribe to this channel to get the update, and of course if you are on my Facebook account and my friends list, you would get the update as well. So let's get on with our topic of today. So functions. People who have done programming before and people who are professionals already know, and I need not say anything about it. But Python has something really great to offer. Of course, I need not say that you have to write the function using the def keyboard. It's already there on the screen, and then you write the function name. Optionally give the parameters in the parentheses and write a colon and then indent the code as usual. Whenever you think about block of statements with braces, think indentation in Python. And then of course you write your code as usual. I always give analogy to newbies as programs. When you write programs, functions are like machines where you may sometimes put a raw material and then you get a finished product, but in any case functions are like those code snippets which you can run at n number of places. Write once, run anywhere. That is the basics and fundamentals of function. So one very powerful part of Python is that the returns data type, the data type of the return value from a function is dynamic. At runtime the function can decide what to return, because in other languages like C, C++, Java, you have to in advance say what kind of data type you are going to return. The side effect of that is that every function in Python is polymorphic by default. Those who know what object oriented programming is, I think would understand. Like if you want to calculate area, you would have to write 2 areas. You'll have to have a float area and an int area. So with different signatures, with different parameter types, you write 2 functions with the same name, and depending on the kind of values you provide to the function, the programming language knows on its own which function to call, right? But in Python it's one step ahead. You don't even have to have 2 functions, and I'm going to of course show you how. So this is what functions actually mean. So let's get on to some actual code. As usual, I'll be opening Python scripts. If you have not downloaded the zip file before of all the exercises, please do so. The link is given in the description. All right, and we'll go to functions. All right, so let's get on with the very basics. Of course, there are some comments here which you can see for yourself. I have printed some lyrics of a poem. So there are 2 lines I want to print. So now wherever you will call this function, as I have done it below, here you can see. So the moment you call print lyrics, those 2 lines will be executed. In a complicated program, you will have several files and you will be including one file into another. That we will see in a later part. The bottom line is wherever you call print lyrics, these 2 lines will be printed. So let's try it out ourselves. Okay, let's do Python 3. Well, so that is function for you. Very basic code it was, like you wrote a function with 2 lines and then you call the function by using its name and putting 2 parentheses, the left and the right parenthesis. Quite pretty usual. Of course, the only thing, as you can see, we have indented the code. There are no braces, as Python is always been like this. Now, immediate question is what happens, how many functions can we call within another, one and another, like what you call as nesting functions. So here is an example. When you write functions, you can write a function and call another function you wrote into that function. So let's see. Our previous function print lyrics, we have written that, and then we have written another function called def repeat lyrics. So we have called the function print lyrics, which we defined in the first part of this file, and then we wrote repeat lyrics and we called the print lyrics function twice. So let's see what happens. What is the effect of this? As you can see, that print lyrics function, which had 2 lines, it got repeated 2 times. Now, let's say that it's very good enough to say that we want to print it twice. But what if I want the user to define how many times the function should be repeated? As you can see, now here is a place where I said before that functions are like machines. You put in some raw material. In this case, the raw material is the number of times you wish to repeat the function. So you take it using input and cast it into int, as we have done before as well, and then we use the for loop here. Please note the indentation very carefully. The for loop, the line for the for loop comes inside the function, so it's at the first level of indentation, and then the next line comes under the for loop, which is another block of statement, so it's at a double indentation level. So each indentation is of 4 spaces. So let's try and execute this code. Let's clear the screen. Oh, sorry, let's execute this. It's asking how many times. That was the input, so I'll say 4. Here you go. So you can see when I entered 4, it ran through that loop. That loop was inside the function, but the parameter was passed onto it from outside. So that's the raw material I talked about. That is the analogy I talked about. So the parameters can be passed inside the parenthesis, and as I said in the slide at the very beginning, you don't have to worry about the data type. The data type in Python, as you always know now, I think I shouldn't be repeating it, that it's all dynamic. Now there's one big question, friends, which would apparently come to your mind, that we haven't seen so far words like public, private, which we do have in C, C++ and Java, of course. Java has many more things, it's friends and stuff like that. So what is the scope of variables in Python? Well, if you have a certain variable inside a function, its scope is going to be local. And if the same variable is outside the function with the same name, then the point here is that once the function gets over, if you try to access the variable, you will get back to the public variable. I'll give you an example here. Just pay careful attention to this. So I have a variable called final, and the value is Alan. Now I have written function called together, wherein there are I am expecting 2 strings from a user, and we will blend them together, merge or concatenate them. Now do you note the variable inside here in the function in the indented code? It's also final. There was a final outside the function, and there's a final again inside the local variable. Now we have taken the input as first and this first and second, and then we pass it on to this function called together, and we pass on two arguments here. It's a comma separated thing. When you have two arguments, you have to separate it with, you have three arguments, every argument will be separated with a comma. So we have two arguments here, we took it, and then we see what happens then. Now I have already ready-made print statement is here just to give you an indication of when we come out of the function. So here the print statement is there, and then again, because you already know you are outside the function now. Now what happens is when we access the outside variable, what value is printed. So let's try this. Okay, so now we are ready to call the function, and we are going to give two strings. I'll say hi, say hello, and let's see what happens. Now when you try to access the function inside the function, the variable inside the function, you couldn't. It went back to its old value. I'll show you the code again. So here's the variable declaration outside the function, final equal to Alan. So here's a variable called final. Then we actually made a call to this function, def together. It took two strings, it concatenated two strings and put it into a variable called final. Now this final, str1 and str2, and that is the value of the final, but this value only stays till the function runs, and this function is only of one line. So the moment you call the function, the one line is executed and the scope returns back to the final variable outside the function. Just because you altered the variable inside, because you might be tempted to think, friends, that since there is no public and private variable, by default it might be all public. No, it's not like that. The same variable, when we declared inside the function, it actually got the value only for that particular time. So that's what I wanted to show you. Of course, you can make the variable global. There is a keyword for that. I am not discussing it here right now. It is an advanced thing about scopes and all, but just to give you a feel that indeed there is scope in Python functions. Now finally, we talked about every function being polymorphic, right? So how do we prove it? Now I have used a very simple example here. We are calculating area. So length and breadth LB. So we have calculated the result and we have returned the result. This time we have not printed it from the function. Of course, return is the last, has to be the last thing the function will do. After return, it doesn't do anything. The function just, the execution jumps out of the function. It's like return, it's done. It's kind of work done and the value is returned. So now here we have given two parameters, 8 and 4.2, and then we have taken the value into final result and we have printed it. So let's try it out. It says 33.6, obviously, because there was a float. So this time it returned us a float value. Now let me change this. Now let's see, we have changed it to integers. Now the value is an integer. So as you do in C++ and Java, you have to have two functions with different data type of parameters. No need in Python. Python will take care of it on its own. So guys, that's all for today. That's all about functions, and I think you have by now realized how important it is to learn Python, and that is the reason why Python is used in places like Google and so many other places which I talked about in my first part of this tutorial. So again, please do subscribe because a lot of great things are going to come your way. And of course, as I said, I am starting a webinar series, a certified webinar series on some advanced stuff, microservices using RESTful APIs with Python. I'll be announcing details in a couple of days. So keep watching and happy coding.